Round of lightning talks. Quite exciting. People are knocking your glasses over. They're so excited. All right. So first up is Christoph talking about WalkHub and other stuff.
Hi, I'm Christoph von Tomme, and I've got 3 topics and a live demo in 5 minutes. First, let's set my timer. So first, anybody here from London or the nearby area? If you didn't do so yet, go and check out, there's going to be a meetup that I'm organizing in London, starting from the end of September. And the first session or meetup will be about the highlights from this conference. It should be interesting. Anybody here doing developer relationships? Yeah? If you don't know about this yet, there's a conference in London, also on the 30th of September, DevRelCon, which should be really awesome. I'll be there, meet you there. And third, last year I showed you WalkHub, which is like a system for recording walkthrough tutorials on top of websites. I'll show you in a moment. Back then it was a Drupal system, so it had a Drupal backend. There was like a lot of people were really excited about it, but it was kind of complicated to get it started. We've been rebuilding it recently into Go, and now it's like a binary that you can deploy with a Docker image, fairly straightforward. And you can just drop the JavaScript in your site. And what I'm going to show you, if all goes well, is a live demo of how you add it to your site, which is really simple. Just copy some JavaScript, add it in here, and save the log. Now, you saw this appearing here in the corner? Probably not, but it wasn't here before. It's a record button, and if you click it, it lets you click on stuff in your site, like for example, edit, and that one's like, click on a few. I'm just clicking on random things in the site, and preview, submit, finish and save. So I've recorded a walkthrough now. I'm going to give it a title, open it. And there's a little embed snippet here. Copy that. So far, everybody following? I go back and edit this one. And paste that snippet. Save it. Now I've got a play button. Let's see what it does. So it's a really, really quick way of recording interactions and flows through, it's a bit hard on a small screen, flows through a CMS or whatever, anything that's kind of complicated and it's just easier to just record what it's doing, or like giving your users a record button so that they can record what's going wrong and then send you a ticket or something like that. I've seen a presentation by Salesforce, and they've rolled out this in a big way in their onboarding system. So when you now take, when you just sign up for a new account, the start tutorials of like how to get started with Salesforce, they got 3 personas, or 4, it doesn't matter. Different personas and like the user stories, like the main stories that those different personas will do in Salesforce. And you can like go through, play through those personas and how they're interacting with the system. And they're using that for people that just signed up for Salesforce to kind of improve the onboarding experience so that they won't stop after the trial, which is really interesting. This thing is open source, right? If you, currently we have the old version online. If you want a new version, you can go to walkhub.net. I don't know if that's readable here, walkhub.net. Sign up in the form. You'll get an account and you'll be the first to know when this new version is live and downloadable. And yeah, so if you want to talk about that or anything else, just hit me up. Thanks.
All right, next up we have Andrew, and after that we have Troy, so please come up.
Hi. So what I'm talking about today is documenting the revolution. And the revolution is the fact that organization culture is changing. The old paradigm was the organization was a machine with little cogs in it, which might be us. And if they didn't work, you change them, you build a new part, you add it on. And this would have many layers and a hierarchy. But that doesn't work anymore. So we're moving to a new paradigm. And this is something that is happening, whether we like it or not, with companies like Zappos, Holacracy. And part of the new paradigm is the organization is much more like a living organism. And the network rules. Decisions evolve from the whole organization. So, what's happening in this area? Well, in various cities, there are groups, there are meetups, unconferences, workshops in this space. And there are networks of people who are consultants, shift makers. Some call them culturists, organizational culture activists. And technical writers are appearing. So, what do we want? So one of the things we want is awesome docs. And so this is an invitation to participate in this movement. So we want content, things like calendars of events, because there might be several groups in the same city organizing meetups, so we can have a shared calendar rather than everyone having their own. We want information about the different groups, where they're based. We want how-to guides. We want meta-content. We want to document the docs. So my invitation is to anyone who wants to mentor this or collaborate with this. And the benefits are, for some of us like myself, we write documentation for a firm and it's all secret. We can't publish it, we can't show anyone. So this would be an opportunity to showcase our technical writing. And also it would be an opportunity just to create another great team. So what's next? I've put a file with some more information on Slack. So go and have a look at that. If you're interested in, get in touch with me, mail@andrewhaines.com. That's also in Slack. And we would like to start with London and then share our resources within any other cities who are interested. If you want some references, you can look at liberatingstructures.com, reinventingorganizations.com, shiftorg.uk. There are resources out there which are beginning to appear, and we would just like to have some help in bringing those resources together and sharing them more widely. Thank you.
All right. Next up after this is Thomas, so if you want to get ready. And currently this is actually Troy, who is one of the original co-founders of Write the Docs. So we kind of were drunk in a bar in Portland one time and we're like, there's no documentation community. And he's like, just make a conference. That's how you build community. And now we're standing on the stage in Prague. So, ... the rest was history. And he's going to be talking with us today about measuring your documentation.
Projector setup counts in your time. That's fine. Sorry, guys. All right.
Sweet.
Hello, I'm Troy Howard. Some of you know me from previous conferences, although this is the first time I've spoken at one of these conferences, which is to me a big honor. Usually I'm too busy running around behind the scenes and getting things done. My day job, I work for Twitter, and I'm on the Tech Talks team, and I focus sort of on the engineering aspect there, building tooling to do a better job at documenting. So I recently released a blog post called Contemporary Tech Docs. You may have seen it. If you didn't, there's a link, you should go check it out. It describes the sort of general approach to tech docs at Twitter. I have a lot of crazy ideas in there, and I'd love people to read it and comment on it and tell me how crazy they are and how I can make them more practical. So getting into that, let's talk about some of the practical aspects I discuss in there. There's a quote, "Without metrics, it's all guesswork." So Twitter is a very data-driven company, and I really think that's the right approach. And I think that contemporary tech docs organizations need to be able to measure their work and need to be able to measure the impact that they're having at the companies that they work for. So we had a talk earlier about testing. And testing is cool, testing is interesting, and it's something that resonates with engineers, but I think we should step back from the idea of testing a little bit and talk about measuring first. You can test if you have measurements. Tests are a little bit more fragile, a little bit more strict. They require a pass-fail judgment, as opposed to just taking a measurement and collecting data, which I think is a lot more valuable long-term. So I'd like us to think about it like a doctor thinks about health and say, we've got this living thing, this organism that is a document, and it has a long life cycle and its health changes over time. So we need to think about, how can we get a thermometer in the mouth of our documentation and measure its body temperature? How can we measure things like glucose, or something like that? There are a lot of different things that we can look at about a document and try to understand it. Once we have some information, we can start making decisions. We can start looking at trends in that information, and we can start, figuring out what is right. Because you might have a lot of ideas about what's right, but that may not actually be true. So the more you know about it, the better decisions you can make. Testing is more like having a police force, whereas metrics are more like having a Fitbit. So I'd like to have a Fitbit before I have police. Some applications. One of the things you can do once you're measuring your docs and have some information about it is provide some feedback to the authors so that they can do a better job of authoring the documentation. They can check the quality before they send it out. They can get reports regularly from your documentation tooling, telling them how things are going. Maybe things are changing. Maybe suddenly people have stopped reading it or something like that. And maybe give some suggestions on how you can improve it. If you know what you're measuring, then you also know probably how to improve that measurement. Understanding an existing corpus. So when I joined Twitter 2 years ago, well, a year and a half ago, we had a massive wiki with lots and lots of content, and nobody knew what was good and what was bad. So the first thing we had to do was go in and start measuring that stuff and try to understand what was there, and then start making some judgments about it, and figure out what to keep and what to get rid of. Health dashboards. This is kind of a fun one. Documentation is a living thing. It's changing all the time, right? It's relevant and then it becomes irrelevant. So having some health dashboards is kind of useful to see how that stuff is changing over time. One of the other things we do, we have kiosks in the office where we can give shout outs for good documentation, and we can also publicly shame people that have bad documentation with our kiosk, and that's all generated from the same metrics. I can also get monitoring and alerting as a Tech Docs person. I can say, okay, in general, how is Tech Docs doing for our entire company? And I can be alerted when suddenly people stop documenting their code if it falls below a certain thing. This is very much like IT operations monitors a cluster of servers. You can do the same thing with your documentation. So I'm running out of time, but what can we measure? Key thing is keep it simple and measure what you can measure. Don't worry about getting it right, just get some data. Just like with this conference, the first thing I did was put up a website, and I had no idea if anybody would come to it, just make a measurement and go. So I have a bunch of ideas about things you can measure. Those are mostly detailed in the blog post. I'm about to get kicked off stage, so help me build this in an open source way. And that's me.
Thomas, EBook? No? No. All right, and after that we have Eric. So if you want to make sure you're ready. A reminder that setting up slides does count towards your time if you need incentive not to have slides.
I will complain. I don't need to remove.
You're going to start talking.
You really don't like slides.
So there's something called Git. You can use it to like make books and stuff.
That's what I want.
I think you're good. I'm good with that.
So I will speak about EBook. Most of you may have heard about Sphinx documentation, but EBook is another alternative. So why I choose this one? It's because you can really go fast to getting started. Maybe there's a way for improvement, but this tool is quite easy to set up and for starting. So where it comes from? It's due to a pure online project documentation movement. It's a project from a company called EBook. It's like LinkPub, it's for publishing online instead of publishing through a normal publisher. It's based on Node. It's responsive, so you don't have to care the default the template is responsive, and it can export to multiple formats, PDF, EPUB or MOBI file. So what it looks this way, so let's switch to, I was speaking about what you can do is changing, for example, the style. We were speaking about contrast. Light, sepia, so you can choose and I'll make a trick with this one. Okay. So with this, if you resize, you will see that the menu will change. So who use it? The same people for documenting the process. Me, I've done it, I wrote a book and I needed to embed sample, so I've made a custom code previously to directly use include, so I was able to embed each of my HTML sample. So for each subpart I was able to make change. So how do you install it? You just need to use npm, create a so you have an instruction. npm is a node packet manager, G being global. You prepare a directory. You create into this directory an empty readme.md file and a summary file will look like this way. This way is the same architecture you will get in the menu. When you've done this, you need to, in the directory to init, it will generate all the file with a structure. So you don't need to get it, and after you save. Saving file is the famous demo effect. And so I have the structure, and here you just have to change the markdown file and it will refresh automatically. And if you need a static, so you want to publish, for example, on GitHub or elsewhere, you use GitBook Grid to do the same. And if you want to go further, there's a multilingual support. So the entry name is for the language. but after it's not like Sphinx, there's not something like po and mo file like with Sphinx. You can also extend it, so you can just take a look at the official page and at the GitHub repository. Thanks for your attention.
See, this is what using slides look like. You gotta hurry. All right, I think we're gonna have time for one more after this one, which is a lightning talk about laptop stickers, which I think is a good way to end it. So if that's you, come on up and get ready. And here we have Eric talking about a tale of squirrels and security.
Thank you. So, my name is Eric. My nickname here is the squirrel somehow, long story. I'm a developer. I mostly do Python and Django. Any other Python developers here? I noticed, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, this is our mascot, by the way. I noticed Ride the Dogs doesn't have a mascot, so that's something that will need to be fixed. And so something I've noticed recently is that sometimes when I sit in meetings with my clients, for example, they're talking about something and they're enthusiastic, and at some point they notice I start to open my mouth and they change to, their mood becomes a little more shocked. And the mood just changes as they hear me breathing in to start to talk, and the crow sounds 3 times. And why is that? It's because I care a lot about security, and so usually this means that I'm about to say, this is a really nice idea, but there are some horrible security flaws in what you're doing, and we really can't do that. I guess I like security because it's just really important, and it's, I think it's often made much too hard. So like what I like to do is help ordinary developers and ordinary users to understand security better and make things more secure. I work with healthcare data, but not like the ones with way too happy patients that we can't even see, but it's horrible stock photography. I work with all sorts of medical files and archives and budgets and things, but it's still important, and security for my company is also important. But then we have all these users to deal with, and that makes it pretty tough. It's not so the thing is, like in security, there's sometimes the attitude that users are dumb and they deserve it, and like, does anybody here reuse their passwords in multiple websites? Yeah, a few yeah, more hands, yeah. So the attitude is often that, it's just for you that the trouble is with the user, but I think it's with the systems we design. So, and that the tools we've given you are just not good enough. So the way I feel is not that we should think of our users as people that is their own fault, but think of our users as, even if they're a bunch of monkeys that are high on catnip, we should design things that it's still as safe as possible for them, even if they start throwing poop at us. So I do this with everything I build. So for example, when people change their password, you can't have password. This is all encrypted in Dutch, but the point is, like, we enforce a lot of things. We help them find the right way. The right way is the easiest way. But people are not always happy when we do that. Like, I've had people swear at me on the phone for not accepting password as their password when they're about to access healthcare records. But something else I've noticed is that sometimes when these people phone us and they say, I've forgotten my password, can you just change it to whatever password? And then we say, no, of course we can, because I don't even know who you are. You could be anyone phoning me. And then they suddenly say, oh, that's actually a very good point. I've never thought about that. But the funny thing is, when you explain these things, then people, many of them are actually really happy with what we do. So we tell them, like, we can't accept your request, and this is going to take like a week, and we're going to have to send you a letter, and you're going to have to pick things up, and blah, blah, blah. But it turns out they're actually quite happy about it. So when we explain things well to them, then most of them, not all of them, become suddenly very receptive and actually like all our security measures, and they start complaining to other people that they don't have the measures we have that annoyed them initially. Another big thing we have to train people for is social engineering. So like you phone someone up and said, hello, I'm from IT, can I have your password because your account is blocked and blah, blah, blah. There's like, people are very perceptive to this, people are very eager to help usually. So we try to document things for them. So like in your login screen, it always says, by the way, if the help desk calls you, never ever give out your password. If they say they need it, they're not the help desk. But so what all this means to me is that I think there's a lot of opportunity in doing more in documentation with this. So like in the security community, which I'm a very tiny bit part of, I think we often forget to communicate things to our users well, and documentation is a really big part in this. And it turns out there's a lot of people who know a lot about documentation here, a lot more than I do. So I'm going to call on you to help me do something with this. So I don't think there are any projects currently where people look at documentation in context of security, in training people, in teaching them the right way and making them feel good about it. And I can bribe you with stroopwafels because I have a bunch in my bag. So if you're interested in this, then look for me and follow the white squirrel. And also, there is a badge flare contest. So if you tweet a photo of your badge, if you have flare on your badge like I do, tweet a photo of your badge, tag Write the Docs and WTD badge, and you may win the prize. So don't forget to tweet. We close at 4.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of scared to know what this prize is. It's very, very ominous, I think. All right, and the last lightning talk today. Sorry everyone else that didn't get the chance to get one. Come back next year and sign up 8 a.m. Monday morning. Yeah, so now we have a talk about laptop stickers.
Yeah, hi, no slides from me. My name is Marcin. I work for StarkHunter. It is a Swedish company that produces in-memory database engine. And what I'm trying to do there is discover the secret sauce for making developers excited about that. So, laptop stickers. Some people say they are like tattoos for computers, but people with real tattoos say they're more like bumper stickers for geeks. A few years back, when I started attending tech conferences, I have noticed that a lot of tech people, especially developers, have something stick to the lids of the laptops, and it got me interested. So, how many of you have a sticker on your laptop? I see a lot of. How many of you don't have? Half, I would say. So, I think that in this crowd, it is especially a large percentage of people with laptop stickers. But yesterday, I thought about making this lightning talk, so I asked people to go on Twitter and click a link and fill in a survey. So I have some results from the survey, and 5% of conference attendees responded, so it's 9 people, really. Not a very representative group, but I have some conclusions. So did you know that 44% of people who replied to my survey actually paid to get some of their stickers. They are not always obtained for free, but actually they wanted to have something personal for it. And 78% of people who take and collect stickers also distribute their own stickers. 78%, so it's like a social circle of exchange. I didn't know that. And 2/3 of people who have a sticker on their laptop also have a sticker on their smartphone. And 2/3 of the people who have stickers anywhere actually remember where did they get all of the stickers from. And I think this rarely happens in other forms of advertisement. So stickers create some maybe shallow but actually persistent bonds. And I think this is a good thing. So who does it best? I think Mozilla does it very well. They have Mozilla Monster stickers and Firefox stickers and Firefox OS stickers and Mozilla Developer Network stickers. GitHub has produced, I think, hundreds of different designs. So they are some kind of like collectible items that you go to some conference and you get a special sticker made for that conference. I think that's an amazing case. So what do the stickers represent? From my survey, it turns out that for most of the people, they represent a value that is important for them. This is the first answer that they choose. And also for almost everyone, they represent the place where they got the sticker from. And only after that comes that they represent some specific product or actually their own work. But actually 2/3 of the people responded that the stickers represent their own work to them. And after all, I think stickers are a low-hanging fruit of engaging both people at work and community around the product. So I think you should all consider producing stickers for your events and blogs and products and companies for many of reasons. First is you can put it on your own stuff. And they don't cost much, like you can get 100 or 200 stickers for the cost of this conference ticket. They create a deep personal engagement for someone who sticks them on their stuff, and those people become your advocates. So using physical advertising space on their devices, and the space is provided by people who actually share about the same values as you. They are a very good conversation starter when you give them away, and they can turn you into a walking booth at conferences. So if you cannot afford to pay a sponsorship package, you just print a bunch of stickers, and you are still, you can address everyone and saying, check out my stickers. And sometimes even they can inspire a lightning talk like this. I have made some mistakes about stickers, and I think some people do. So the first batch of stickers that I ordered for the company where I work, they were just the company logo, as you can see here. And everyone that works at the company got crazy, and there are people who have 5 or 7 stickers everywhere. And they have stickers on their smartphones and desks and everywhere. But we didn't have a single person that is actually not working at the company putting the sticker on their stuff. And this is a little bit harder to do. So based on the conclusions from my research, I know that I should make a different kind of sticker now, the one that creates value, not only carries a logo. So I think maybe it will be a sticker like this, something that someone can identify with, instead of just putting someone else's logo and being a banner. And I'll leave you with this spot, and that's all I got. Thanks. If anyone wants to see results of mine, then I'll put it over here.
So we actually do this, the black and white Write the Doc sticker, we think of as kind of a community membership. And the other one is the actual I was at this conference sticker. So we've thought a lot about this, and I think it's really cool. So I think that was the end of the lightning talks. We have about 8 minutes until the next talk, so go get some stickers. I think we have a few left, and we really don't want the Write the Docs Prague ones, because you're at the event. You need the stickers from the event. We don't need them. You need them. So see you in a bit.